Oh, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, no, there's no erasing.
Get ready as we dive into a world of unexpected chaos. We'll see some of the biggest mistakes and mix-ups in TV history. Watch skilled actors as they find themselves in surprising situations, and their confused faces turn into something really funny.
Chad,
Let me talk, Carol.
translate that for us. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Join us to see some of the funniest mistakes ever made on live television.
Save our wild species and provide a home.
Carol Costello, imagine trying to explain something while being constantly interrupted. It's like giving directions, and someone keeps asking more questions before you can finish. Now picture being a weatherman like Chad Myers, talking about Hurricane Katrina on live TV, and anchor Carol Costello keeps asking for details. That's what happened, and poor Myers couldn't take it anymore. He snapped, saying, "Let me talk, Carol," and even threw his papers in frustration.
Chad,
Let me talk, Carol.
translate that for us. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Well, if you would let me talk.
Later, he tried to laugh it off as a joke, but it looked pretty real. Of course, it was 4:30 in the morning, so maybe that explains it. Master Meteorologist touchscreens are really amazing. We all felt excited when we got our first smartphone, but weatherman Greg Dutra did something even more exciting on live TV in Chicago. During a weather update, he accidentally touched his screen and changed the presentation by mistake. How did he react? It was so funny. He was like a kid in a candy store, and even the news anchor joined in the fun.
I gotta try it.
Hold on. Can you believe that? Just touch it. You can go anywhere you want.
That's so cool.
Didn't know it. Can I zoom?
I just hope that Greg doesn't think he can change the weather for real. But if he does, I hope he's on our side. Elephants in trouble. In Kenya, 2022 was a hard year for elephants because of a terrible drought. But even in tough times, there can be joy and laughter. A journalist named Alvin Konda was filming a story about baby elephants in a Kenyan orphanage. While he was filming, one playful elephant wanted to check him out with its trunk. Konda was a good sport and didn't mind, until the elephant's trunk reached his face. Even in a crisis, these elephants found a way to bring a smile.
Natural world. Save our wild species and provide a home.
Unable to contain himself, he then burst into giggles. Running around with a turkey on the streets isn't easy. Journalists already struggle to make it big without having to deal with a turkey coming after them. In this funny video clip, the reporter can't seem to catch a break. What should have been a simple live shot on the side of the road turns into a wild turkey chase. The turkey doesn't like the reporter's presence and makes it known by pecking at his microphone and chasing him up and down the road. All the while, his camera operator just sits by, probably laughing so hard he could fall over. Tony Armstrong, former Australian rules footballer turned sports presenter, found himself in a giggle-inducing situation on the morning show when weatherman Nate Byrne went missing. Joe O'Brien tried to hand off the program to Nate, but the camera cut back to Tony. Instead, Tony tried to handle the weather himself as a team player, showcasing his improv skills.
Disc. I said disc. That's what I thought you said. Thank you, Tony.
I'm just gonna drink water.
No, don't be-
It was a delightful amount of chaos behind the scenes as everyone struggled to keep up while the segment never got back on track. Watching Tony play for time and the backstage struggle proved endlessly entertaining. Makeup mix-up. Picture yourself as Carol Walker, the TV star of BBC News. It's just minutes before your big 9 a.m. segment, and you think you've got some time to freshen up. So like a pro, you reach into your handbag and start fixing your hair. But surprise! The camera cuts in way too early, and now everyone watching sees you primping, totally unaware that it's only 8:56 a.m. It's a moment caught on live TV that you didn't plan for. What a surprise it must have been for all those who tuned in and saw your purse sitting on the desk. Axe throwing gone wrong. Axe throwing gone wrong. A reporter tried to throw an axe at a target, but things didn't go as planned. Instead of hitting the mark, the axe headed towards the tipsy bunch behind it. It was like a scene from a horror movie. The axe, acting like a confused squirrel, went on its own wild path, aiming right at the drum team. It seemed as if the axe wanted to join the party. Perhaps the reporter should have stuck to writing instead of handling sharp objects. Safety first, everyone. Let's just hope the team can forgive the reporter and find a safer way to have fun. Presidential mishap. In a hilarious turn of events, President Joe Biden, known for his unintentional gaffes, dropped a bomb of a different kind during a momentous occasion as vice president. He got caught up in the excitement of President Obama signing the healthcare bill into law and leaning in close to sum up the moment he slipped out some colorful language that the podium microphones were all too happy to broadcast to the world. While everyone agreed the bill was a big deal, the choice of words was definitely more R-rated than what news coverage usually expects. It didn't take long for that blooper to become a popular t-shirt slogan, turning the political mishap into a fashion statement. Manchester United are rubbish. In a comical mix-up, BBC News accidentally flashed a sneaky message about Manchester United on their ticker as tennis updates appeared on the screen. The words Manchester United are rubbish unexpectedly scrolled by.
Through in straight sets and is one step closer to reaching week 2 of a Grand Slam.
United fans were naturally displeased and the BBC was forced to apologize. It turns out that the message was just random text that was typed up by someone who was learning to use the ticker, never expecting it to be broadcast. It's an innocent mistake, but definitely revealed that there's at least one person at the BBC who is not a fan of Manchester United. Naked Gardening Day. During a lively discussion about World Naked Gardening Day on Something Good Day, Philadelphia, host Mike Jerrick unintentionally made a risque innuendo.
Is there a naked gardening club in Philly?
Mike would like to join.
Yeah, I'd like to see the hose.
Poor Jarek realized his slip-up as soon as the words left his mouth while his co-host Alex Hawley struggled to stifle her laughter.
No, you know what a trowel is?
My heart stopped for a second. Gosh.
No.
It's a classic case of words with multiple meanings, especially the taboo ones overshadowing innocent definitions. We can all sympathize with his predicament and imagine that similar situations happen again in the future. Football failure. During live coverage of an NFL game in Minnesota, former NFL coach Jim Mora accidentally made a comment that was not meant for viewers trying to lighten the mood anchor.
Hey, shut up.
Scott Walker cracked a joke about Mora losing patience with his fellow commentators. Unaware of being live on air, Mora burst into laughter and suggested his salty opinion of the Joker to his colleagues. But little did they know they were live on television trying to salvage the situation. His colleagues awkwardly agreed that Walker was full of it, and it took a moment for Mora to catch on. But when he did, it led to a hysterical moment shared by viewers. Wacky weather. This weather guy was just trying to do his job, but the feisty Pelican had other plans. Instead of being a cooperative co-worker, the Pelican decided to become a weather bully. It was like a grumpy bird on a mission to peck and attack the poor reporter. Talk about a not-so-friendly work environment. The weather forecast turned into an amusing battle between man and bird with the Pelican, giving a whole new meaning to foul weather. Let's just hope the weatherman invests in a Pelican-proof umbrella for future broadcasts. Reporter hit by car. Now I'll start by saying that everyone involved turned out completely fine, but the incident still managed to create quite the frightful moment. A reporter was giving a live update on a water main development in Dunbar, West Virginia. But before she could even begin, out of nowhere, our car introduced itself to her by knocking her over. Thankfully, that car was not in a hurry, so she only found herself off of her. Show clip of her talking later. The driver, seemingly perplexed by the roadwork, was incredibly sorry. However, the reporter, being the pro that she was, bounced back up like a champ. She assured everyone that she was all right and continued with the report. Now that's dedication. She did go to the hospital afterwards to be safe, but turned out to be fine in the end. Cell phone addiction. Now we all know the struggle of resisting the urge to check our phones, especially when we have a spare moment. That's why cell phones are banned in schools and workplaces. It's crucial to set limits so that you don't keep getting distracted during work hours. Just imagine if you accidentally ended up on live television while mindlessly scrolling. That's exactly what happened to BBC anchor Joanna Gosling. She was caught red-handed, phone in hand, when the camera unexpectedly cut to her. She had a startled reaction, but quickly regained her composure like a pro. And who knows, maybe she was just waiting for another spare minute to continue her phone scrolls. Yakety Sax, Chris Pincher, scandal in the UK was a total disaster, leading to so many government officials resigning, which included Boris Johnson himself. People were thrilled to see him go, and the music they chose for the media frenzy was absolutely priceless. It all began when actor Hugh Grant tweeted to activist Steve Bray, telling him to play Benny Hill's funny music, and guess what? Bray actually did it. He started blasting yakety sax right outside of British Parliament. It was so hilarious that it ended up on live broadcasts, turning the entire situation into a real-life meme.
No ministers in DfE at the moment. That needs to be sorted out.
Hogging the screen, a regular day would turn into a breakfast bonanza for a television journalist. Just as he was reporting live, a pig appeared out of nowhere and chased him like a bacon-seeking missile. This reporter's encounter with the trotting terror surely will make it into the Hog Hall of Fame. The pig stole the show, leaving the poor journalist feeling more like a cereal side dish. It seemed as though this piggy was determined to hog the limelight, and boy did it succeed. The journalist probably will think twice before bringing home the bacon again. Self-objection. The Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial may have been more like a live streaming comedy event than a regular one. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details of this highly publicized celebrity court case, but I'll focus on a funny moment when Amber Heard's lawyer began to question Johnny Depp's former house manager Ben King. When the lawyer didn't get the answer, he expected he objected, but the judge quickly reminded him that it was his own question. It seems that we should lower our expectations a bit for celebrity lawyers. Gordon Brown, in a comical turn of events just a week before a tough election, Britain's Prime Minister Gordon Brown found himself in a terribly timed television blunder. Hoping for a campaign boost, he was caught in a live moment of awkwardness when a woman chosen to make him look relatable brought up the touchy subject of immigration on camera. He had plastered on a smile and remained composed. But once he hopped into his car, he forgot that he was still mic'd up and let loose his true opinion. He called the entire thing a disaster and referred to the woman as a bigoted woman. The local news crew caught every juicy bit of it. And it's one of those rare occurrences where a politician accidentally reveals a tad too much honesty. Blaming the video games, internet trolls strike once again. It seems as though they can't resist mixing up serious events with their dark humor picture. A former Japanese prime minister was tragically assassinated while giving a speech, but the trolls wasted no time in pointing fingers at famous video game designer Hideo Kojima. They even cooked up other crazy stories, and to make matters worse, some news outlets fell for the prank and broadcasted pictures of Kojima. They had to apologize and take everything back. And now legal action is on the horizon, reminding us that fake news can be quite harmful. Gotta catch them all. In 2016, Pokémon Go burst onto the gaming scene, causing quite the frenzy amongst players. It was so popular that it created some problems as well. Take the case of Allison Croft, a news anchor in Florida. She was so engrossed in chasing her favorite Pokémon that she walked right in front of the weatherman Bobby Deskins during his live broadcast. Poor Bobby was left stunned by her obliviousness. She would later share the video on her Facebook page with a funny caption that read, "That moment, when you realize you might be addicted to Pokémon tease, a reminder to watch out for real-life obstacles while catching virtual creatures, the slap of the century." In a shocking turn of events at the 94th Academy Awards, comedian Chris Rock decided to spice things up by teasing actor Jada Pinkett Smith, but her husband Will Smith did not find it funny at all. He took matters into his own hands and gave Rock a good slap across the face, followed by a passionate outburst of colorful language. The audience and everyone watching was left stunned, and critics had a field day bashing both Smith and the Academy for their lack of action. To make matters worse, Smith not only got to stay at the ceremony, but even went on to accept an award shortly after. Daydreaming on live, daydreaming at work, is a common occurrence. We've all had those spacey moments when we should be focused. But imagine the shock that Natasha X will be felt when she was caught daydreaming on live TV. She got lost in her thoughts while absent-mindedly playing with her pen, and it would cost her her on-air shifts. Viewers even began a petition to bring her back, and it just proves that everyone enjoys seeing someone being human, even if it means being caught daydreaming. Rolling off the stage, Sacha Baron Cohen has a gift for making crowds laugh. He's like an uproarious tornado, sweeping everyone off their feet, from regular folks to those who with a few more years under their belt. So it's no surprise he set up a comedy gag at an award show to shock everyone, involving what appeared to be an elderly person in a wheelchair. It no doubt later gained some laughs, but at the moment, it was shocking to those in attendance. Live photo bombing. The Minister of State for Civil Aviation, very serious and important, was giving an interview outside of Parliament, but then out of nowhere, a mischievous girl pops up behind him and ruins the perfect shot talk about unexpected entertainment during a live broadcast. It's like when you're posing for a nice picture, and suddenly your friend makes a silly face. The minister's moment was definitely photobombed, and it must have been quite the surprise for everyone involved. Cool as a cucumber, during a live television report, something absolutely crazy happened. Reporter David Williams was just doing his thing sharing the news, when out of nowhere, a lady wearing a unicorn head showed up. She sprinted towards David, waving her arms like crazy and making strange noises, and David remained as calm as a cucumber throughout the entire spectacle. You have to give him credit, because if it were me, I probably would have burst into laughter and lost it completely. Wind. That can make you fly. Two fearless weather reporters were determined to bring you the latest blizzard update, but they were not prepared for the gusts of wind. One of their hats flew off, spinning like a wild tornado, while the other one desperately clung onto his microphone. Their hair became a wild mess as the blizzard unleashed its icy fury. And despite their valiant efforts, these intrepid reporters were no match for Mother Nature's sense of humor. Clearly not Picasso. In a crazy moment, a female reporter turned into a blushing Picasso, when her drawing for a game with another reporter went hilariously wrong. The lady simply covered her face, hoping that the ground would swallow her up. They say that laughter is the best medicine, but for her it was the perfect remedy to save face. So the next time, maybe she should just stick to Pictionary and leave the abstract art to the pros tripping on television. When our emotions run wild, we tend to do some silly things, just like this contestant who was so happy that she didn't see the giant depot sign and tripped over it. It's like being so thrilled about winning a race that you forget to tie your own shoelaces and end up face-planting in front of everyone. She was on cloud nine, but got a taste of reality. Or in this case, the ground. Remember, excitement can be quite the roller coaster. Bees attacked. A news reporter and his trusty cameraman were going about their business when suddenly disaster would strike a truck that was loaded with millions of honeybees. Decided to do a sweet little somersault right on the highway. And guess who got caught in the buzz? The reporter and his team would end up getting attacked by the bees. They were stung left and right and stumbled into a bee-themed circus talk about a sticky situation. They're probably rethinking their career choices, and never underestimate the power of a honeybee jam phone interruption. When your phone rings at the most awkward moment, you're faced with two choices. You can slightly send the call to voicemail or dramatically launch your phone across the room. This television guest went for the latter option. Imagine their grand decision as if saying, "Nope, I'll make this moment." Unforgettable. The audience must have been in awe witnessing a phone flying gracefully through the air. Dance party. If you stumble upon a live broadcast, you shouldn't just stand there like a statue. Make sure that you've got your funky fresh moves locked and loaded, ready to bust out like a dancing dynamo. Imagine the sheer surprise on everyone's faces as you break into a spontaneous groove like this guy, defying the norms of live television. It's your chance to show off your sick moves and make the world much more groovier. Who knows, you might even become the unexpected star of a show.